Hey guys, this is just a quick preface to the video. I actually recorded the video a little bit before, so the footage and everything is a slightly outdated version of the game, even at the point that I'm doing this recorded thing right now. The written review is going to include this new update that came in where they added in ships. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the written review, at least what I do know about it. But since that wasn't, out when I recorded this review and did the footage, you won't see any of that, in the actual gameplay that I'm doing. You won't see any traces of that. But I just wanted to really stress that you should check out the written review if you want to see the most up-to-date version of the review that I've done. And keep in mind that stuff keeps changing for this game, so if anything else is out of date by the time you see this review, or by the time it's up even, if that somehow happens, then that's why it's not included. If it's not in the written review, basically, it probably wasn't in the game yet when I did it. So just keep the whole date of this in mind, because I did this, the written review is the most recent. Like, as I'm recording this, I'm still writing that review, so... Okay. Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Star Wars: Galaxy of Heroes. For mobile devices? Yeah, it's my first mobile review. So I don't play many of these games. It's going to be kind of a first for me, I guess, and we'll see if it ends up turning into more. Also, I don't know if my battery is going to die, so if there's a weird cut in the middle, it's because the battery died. I'm also recording this again because the audio I did before felt like kind of a mess, and so you guys know that this is kind of all over the place because it's hard to talk about this game without getting into super specifics, but I don't want to do that. But I might get into a bit better detail about more of the stuff in the written review, which is, you can find the link to that in the description, or go to hubworldhq.com or thegravelpit.com. I post the same one on both of those sites, but, either one, whichever background you like better, go to that one. But there's just, I think, more stuff. There's probably more news on Gravel Pit, but there's more other content that I post on Hubworld. So yeah. Anyways, more details are going to be in the written one, and you can just look at that before, after, or instead of this video review. So if you're still here, I think we'll start into it. One other thing is that I'm going to kind of be eyeballing some of the stuff on my phone, so I don't forget as many things. If you hear that, that's what that is. So Star Wars: Galaxy of Heroes is, like I said, it's a mobile game. It is a free-to-play game, and it is like an RPG kind of. Basically, it is. I guess I would say it is an RPG, strategy RPG type game, it is turn-based, so it's like turn-based action of the RPG. I guess I should explain really how the plot of the game, essentially, is that you're just in the Cantina, and you're playing in all these different holographic game tables. So the entire game is already kind of set up as like, this whole thing is just a holographic game you're playing like in a bar. So basically anything that happens in here can happen whatever way it wants to, because it's already saying in this video game that it's not something that's happening in the canon of the universe. It's just using the universe to set up these kind of games, and that's sort of the basis. So game within game is kind of crazy like that. In this game, the battles work for just basic fighting. Because when you I'm sorry, it's so hard to know where to start with this because there's so many facets to it. But basically, you start off and they want you to start doing battles, so they give you a few characters to start with. You then put those characters in your team, and then you fight against waves of enemy characters. Typically, there's about 3 waves of characters for you to fight against for enemies. And with the battle, it works on this whole turn meter thing. It's turn-based, but you have turn meters. So whenever your turn meter is full, you're able to do an attack, or use one of your abilities, as they're called. And there's a variety of abilities, like There's your basic, which you can do all the time. That's just your standard attack. There is special abilities that usually have some kind of cooldown. There are unique abilities that tend to be passives. And then there are these leader abilities that only work when it's the first character in your party. And they give that, only then will that passive be for everyone. And I believe there might be a couple other very specific abilities, but they're only for very special characters that you probably won't get to much later in the game. And when you're playing, basically, every time your character gets to attack, that counts as their turn. And their speed will determine how fast their turn meter goes up. After they attack, then turn meter, of course, goes back down to 0, and then it's based, how fast it goes up is kind of dependent on how fast all the other characters are, and how much their turn takes up. It's a whole system, and I think it's probably been done in other RPGs. I just don't play that many, so I'm not super familiar with the whole turn meter idea, but I think it is kind of similar to something like in a Final Fantasy game. It's just that it's based on how fast everyone is in relation to everyone else. And it's still turn-based, it's not actually time-based. And then that's also how things work, is that instead of having magic for, like, your abilities, like in a lot of RPGs, some kind of mana or something to manage, it's all just based on cooldowns. When you use abilities, a lot of times they'll just have to have a cooldown on them, and it's usually a certain number of turns. So once your character has had that many turns, then they're able to use that ability again, rather than trying to manage a bunch of other extra meters and shit, which cuts down a lot of the clutter that you might find in some of these RPG-type games. And you just fight the enemies and try to defeat them while keeping your enemies alive. If you can defeat all the enemies without losing any of your characters, you'll get a 3-star ranking. If you lose one of your characters, you get a 2-star ranking, and anything after that, as long as you beat it, you'll get a 1-star ranking, which kind of affects the rewards you get. But if you 3-star a battle, you're able to use this thing called a sim ticket in order to automatically play the battle and just win and get the rewards, which, can be useful for very difficult battles. Maybe you want to just, do this battle over again and get the rewards without having to struggle through it because you barely beat it the first time, or you got really lucky. Well, there you go, use your sim ticket. Each of these battles costs energy, because you have energy in this game. But of course, it's a free-to-play mobile game, they gotta get you somewhere. This energy recharges over time, and at certain points in the day, you can get bonus energy. You also get bonus energy for doing things like leveling up. So, having all this energy, you use that to do the battles. And depending on the kind of battle you do, it can expend your energy at different amounts. So, usually your basic battles don't take that much energy, but you can just keep doing those. And then there are hard mode battles, which you can only do when beating enough battles in a certain area. In the light side or dark side battles. Which are two different sets of various battles. Once you beat, there's a bunch of different areas of them, like levels, like 1, 2, 3, and there's a bunch of different battles within each of those. So once you beat all the normal battles in an area, you can then go back and do the hard mode battles, which are harder, but they will usually yield better rewards, they'll take more energy, but they'll also give you these character shards, which, getting the character shards are what you use to promote your characters, as well as unlock new ones. I'll talk a bit about that in a second, but, the light side and dark side battles are kind of split up because there are different kinds of characters. You can get, they're basically the good guys and the bad guys. Light side characters are the good guys. So only the characters with that designation can be used in light side battles, and in dark side battles, only people that are dark side can be used for your teams in those. And that's how you kind of assemble those two different teams. There's also Cantina battles, which use their own separate kind of energy, which is Cantina energy. And you use that to do those battles, and then with those you can be whichever, light side or dark side, any combination of them. So each character also has other designations of their character class, I guess you might call them. For instance, like there might be a character that's a light side, and they're also a human, and if they're like an attacker or a tank, or maybe they're a Jawa, or a droid. There's Sith and Jedi. There's a bunch of different classifications for characters, and a lot of times these characters get these passives and bonuses and extra stuff depending on what their whole class is, their designation. So you have to kind of pay attention to those for certain things. As far as upgrading your characters, leveling up, it's like an RPG, right? Well, to level up your characters, it's not just by getting experience from doing battles. The experience you get from doing battles actually goes towards your player level, which the higher your player level is, the more stuff you unlock for other things you can do later on. Totally new kinds of battles and stuff, and you can do it for just upping the maximum level that each of your characters can be. So that opens up a whole lot of doors and does a whole lot of stuff. But for the characters themselves, basically, you get these things called training droids, and you have to use those, and also the game's basic currency, the credits. I guess maybe just call it gold, I don't know, they're called credits. And you use, depending on how many training droids you use, you then have to use the money along with those in order to actually level your characters up. And the more training droids and the higher level the training droid is, the better the training droid is, then the faster you can level up, but the more it's going to cost. And leveling up will increase your stats. Like I said, getting character shards, after you get so many character shards, you can upgrade you can promote your character because they have ranks. Every character, or I guess any character can be anywhere from 1 to 7 stars. So the higher the rank, the higher your growth modifiers are, which basically means that every time you level a character up, the more stars they have, the higher their rank, then the more stats they'll get for each level. The more the stats will go up. And also, just promoting your characters later will make up for the lost ground. So, promoting a character from 1 star to 2 stars at level 10 is not going to make as much of a difference as promoting one from 1 star to 2 stars at level 50. It's going to be a bit of a difference. On top of that, they also have gear, which can add some little stat boosts to each of their stats and just kind of increases their natural stats. They can only use specific gear each one, and there are 6 slots for gear. And you collect pieces or just the gear itself through all of these battles. Another reason why you'd want to go back and replay certain battles. And the game makes it very easy for you to find all those things. But if you fill up all 6 slots, you can then upgrade your gear level. And upgrading your gear level does open up a lot more stuff, but it also gives you quite a big bonus to a lot of your stats every time you upgrade your gear level as well. And then it resets, and then you need 6 different pieces of gear in order to get up to the next gear level. It just keeps succeeding like that. So that's another way for you to make your character stronger without necessarily having to get the training droids and the credits to do that, or trying to get the shards to promote them, which can also be found in the Cantina as well, by the way. And then the one other way is to... I guess there's a couple other ways. One other way to do it is to get ability mats to upgrade each of their abilities. So basically, their attacks. And the more you upgrade them, then usually the stronger those attacks will be. Sometimes it'll also add extra effects to each of these attacks. So you can kind of play around and experiment, who you want to, upgrade their abilities and how they're going to synergize with other characters, and also with the designations, because certain characters, will synergize better with other characters. Like, Jawas tend to synergize well with other Jawas and with droids, whereas, if you get, a group of Ewoks, they'll all, synergize with each other. Stuff like that will kind of work out. You just have to kind of figure out who is what and what's going to work well with the designations, the bonuses for those designations, and also just the inherent effects and bonus stuff for each character's own abilities. So there's a lot of stuff to consider for strategizing and planning and trying to optimize your teams. And the one other way, which you probably won't get to until much later in the game, but is with mods, which basically there are also 6 spots. Each mod has its own specific shape, and each one has a certain bonus that it'll give you. All the mods have certain bonuses on them, and they'll get more bonuses as you increase their level, spending money to make their mods more powerful. But each one also has a base stat bonus, or like I guess like it has, each one has a set bonus is what it's called, and you either need 2 or 4 of the same kind in order to get that stat bonus. And then once you get them leveled up to 15, all the ones in that set, then the stat bonus increases even further. And that's something you won't have to worry about until later down the road, but that is another way to try and give your characters, you know, a bit more customization and survivability. Plus, they also get little stat bonuses along the way that are minor, but can add up and give you just a little bit of an edge if you're looking for just another way to upgrade your characters when you don't have a, you know, you just don't have the materials to get to the gear level up, you don't have the training droids to get the levels up, and you don't have, you know, the ability match to get the abilities up. It's another way to keep doing that. And like I said, your player level determines the max level of each character. So if your player level is 50, your characters can only be level 50. But once your player level goes up to 51, then you can upgrade each of those characters up to level 51 as well. So that's something to kind of keep in check. There's also a squad arena, which you can do, where basically that's kind of like player versus player stuff, sort of, except that it's not actually player versus player directly. Basically, you pick the characters you want for your squad, and then you go in and try to fight other people's squads, while other people will try to fight your squad as well. Thing is, you're fighting their squad controlled by AI, and people are fighting your squad controlled by AI, so you know, it's not necessarily the best way to do it, but it is still actual people's teams versus other people's teams, so that's something to consider. And maybe you want to have a different team because they don't work as well when you're not deliberately picking what to do versus how the AI is going to react. It's a different kind of way of planning, but it just adds a little more depth, I guess, in that sense. And beating characters will actually get your rank up, so you'll be given the ability to fight against an option of 3 different players, whichever one you want to fight at a time, and then you pick whatever one, you fight them, and if you beat them, then you get up, your place moves up to whatever place they were. You're constantly trying to get a higher and higher rank, because at a certain point in the day, you'll get rewards for that rank, based on however high you are at that point, which will go up and down as it goes on. And the other thing here is Galactic March is another one, or Galactic War, sorry, where it's kind of a similar idea. You assemble your own squad, whatever you want, and you fight through a series of squads, again, one battle at a time, but you do them consecutively. And between rounds, unlike the normal battles, nobody heals between each of these rounds, and nothing gets reset. So basically, you have to go with your turn meters, and your cooldowns will not reset, your health will not reset, and it's just a big endurance run to see how long you can last. Or if you can get to the end, and enemies in the start are a lot easier, where the ones near the end become the toughest, is generally how the flow of it goes. And you get rewards based on how far you can get into there, and you'll obviously get the best rewards for getting to the end of those. Both of those and the Squad Arena attempts, those refresh daily. There's also daily challenges where you can compete to try and get some real good gear and other items by fighting a specific set of enemies, usually with some pretty tough bosses based around certain things. Like you'll have to use specific characters, like using only healers or only tanks, using only attackers, these kind of stipulations, which will make you just kind of have this variety of characters to try and work with those. There's also events that can happen every so often as well, which usually yield some pretty nice rewards, but again, they'll also probably want to ask for certain things, like some events want you to use rebels, some want you to use Jedi, some want you to use scoundrels, and you have to have the proper, amount of characters. You also have to have the proper level of characters, and you have to have the appropriate rank of characters in order to participate in these events. So these are, again, probably more late game stuff that you won't get into until you're really more familiarized with the game and kind of know what you're doing. And the one other big thing here is the guild. In the guild, basically, you can join in and play with these other people all in this guild. And There are daily activities in general, which are just a checklist of things you can do on your own. There's also achievements you can do and work towards, doing so many of this battle and doing so much of that. And just completing these little check marks will get you some other rewards. The daily activities will refresh daily, which is why they're called daily activities, to give you some extra rewards if you follow all those and do the criteria in the checklist. Guilds have guild activities, which will also refresh daily, and you can try to do those to help everyone out in the guild, because everyone does those guild activities, and their stuff adds up, and the better everyone does in those activities, the more rewards everyone gets. The other thing with them is that in guilds you can do what are called raids, which basically has you going up against these really big bosses, and right now they just introduced a new one. So there's a new raid I haven't tried yet, but they did. There was basically one raid for a long time. But you go up against a pretty tough boss, and basically everyone is able to fight that boss and try to do damage to them consecutively, and as a group. And over everyone's battles, they try to wear down this really incredibly tough opponent. Thing with these, of course, you have to have the appropriate level of characters. You have to have, usually what it is, I don't even know if necessarily they're required with the level of characters, but you do need to have a certain rank of characters, because there are different tiers of these battles. And the higher the tier, the higher the rank of your character has to be, and the higher it is recommended for your level and gear level to be. But also the higher the tier, the higher rewards. And usually you just get refreshed characters. It'll take longer to do really hard raids, but it might still actually technically be possible. You have to kind of weigh out, is it worth doing the really hard raids if they take a really long time, or should you do easier ones that take less time? A lot of planning going on with that. And after the raids, based on however well you did in the raid, you'll get a place, either a certain amount of places in the top, and then there's just placing brackets to get these different rewards. And it helps everyone in the guild as long as you participate, so it's kind of a group thing. And I think the one other thing I kind of missed out on mentioning was allies, which you can add people, from your guild, or you can add random people. People will probably try to add you. You have a limited amount of ally slots, but basically allies work as a sixth, because your teams, I guess I should have mentioned this before, but your teams can consist of a maximum of 5 characters. And a lot of times you'll be able to use the 6th slot for an ally, depending on the kinds of battles. You can't do it for things like the squad arena or the Galactic War. You can't use it for the guild battles either, but, the guild raids. But for the light side, dark side, Cantina battles, all of those you can use them for it, and they can be quite helpful. And the interesting thing there is that the leader abilities of characters will actually work as well. So you actually can have 2 leader abilities active if your ally has a leader ability and the person you put in your first slot has a leader ability. Both of those will work. One of the stipulations here is that you can't have 2 of the same character. So, you can have, say, Stormtrooper Han and Han Solo in the same fight, because they're technically 2 different characters in the game. They're 2 different... They're 2 different characters in the game. They're just, even though they're technically the same person, if you see what I'm saying, or like Darth Sidious and the Emperor Palpatine, you can have both of them, but they're, same person, different character. And you're able to do that, but you can't have 2 Stormtrooper Hans or 2 Darth Sidious characters out at the same time, because then their stuff, I guess, would stack too much. That would probably break the game a bit, and that's just the rule of the game. And, that's... God, I think I hit most of the stuff now. Most of the things I wanted to talk about. I guess there are other things you can do, like there's arena shipments and mod shipments and just ways to get extra stuff, data cards, and all that stuff is basically, that's how they make their money, is in the data card shop, where basically you can go in and just buy shit. There's a lot of in-game currencies. That's the thing I gotta bring up. That is in-game currency stuff. There's the main credits, which are used for a lot of things, but you can get those for free. Basically, all the stuff in here you pretty much can get for free. There's a shard shop that opens up once you get characters to 7 stars, and then any extra shards you get for characters that are already 7 stars can be converted into shard shop currency to get extra stuff in there, which is usually some pretty nice rewards that refreshes daily. So there's that. The shipments are usually a mixture of shards and gear, and And the mod shipments are just shipments of different mods. There are also guild shipments to use your guild currency on for doing the guild activities. So you can get usually some shards and gear in there as well. There's a type of currency for the Cantina battles, which you can use to get shards for characters. There's and a couple other things in there. There's currency for doing the squad arena, which you can use for getting mostly shards, but a couple other things in there as well. And then there's the Galactic War currency. So there's a lot of different kinds of currencies, mainly to get more specific kinds of characters. Certain characters are only available in certain places, like the guild shop, the shard shop, the squad arena shop, and all these different areas, and they all have their own currencies. There's also this weird purple currency that can be used for a variety of things, like refreshing your energy or your attempts at things, or getting you some really nice rewards in certain places. And it can even help you get things like these data packs and the data card store. And I believe I might actually be able to purchase some type of currency. I think it might just be those purple crystals that you can purchase with real money, which is where they make their money. Or you can just straight up use real money to buy certain packs in there as well, if you want to support the game, or if you just don't want to wait around and you want to just spend money on it. There's also these free packs you can get. The Bronzium packs, you'll usually be able to get a few of those daily using these silver credits, which you get for just doing battles. And if you get 10 for every, of these regular battles. Or if you do use an ally that you've added, you can actually get 20 for each one, each time you use one of those. And of course, anyone who's an ally with you can then use whatever your leader character is as their ally in their battles. So there's a lot of that going on, and I think now that I've actually hit everything, hopefully, I actually really like this game. I'm surprised at how deep it is, and it has this mixture of being very simple and convenient, with also having a lot of depth and strategy to it, and you can play it whatever way you want to. You can try to collect all these characters, you can try to focus really hard on certain characters, or try to build different characters. You can try to build different characters in different ways, and try different team compositions and see what works and what doesn't. Try to move ahead in different areas and just have fun with your friends with it and be in a guild. The guild is a nice way of, working together, but also having some sort of competition. There's sort of some PvP, though I guess that could be better, but it's a thing that's there. And it's a game that I guess what I've been liking the most, on top of liking the aesthetic, liking the simple RPG kind of gameplay with a nice, really convenient style of turn-based, turn meter, cooldown kind of thing going on, and not really grinding XP, but grinding materials and other items, so it feels like my time is being put towards something, even if it is just more of an illusion, I guess. It's a very convincing one, more so than just doing the same battle over and over, waiting for an XP thing to just, go up. I gotta say that, the thing that really makes it stand out is that it didn't just, start off, giving me a bunch of shit and then lose steam right away, like so many other free-to-play games like this, especially mobile ones. It actually has a lot for me to do a day. I actually can probably spend an hour or two, if not more, a day playing this game between all the times I get extra energy and stuff. There's plenty of stuff to do in this game, and it just feels like there's constantly something else I can be doing. There's more stuff I'm working towards. It just feels really good. And, it's just that and the depth of it and how addictive it is. I really don't have much bad to say about this, even though it's made by EA. The downsides are mostly just that, it is a mobile game that eats up my battery, and they do want money for stuff. Some characters you need to get for these events that are a limited amount of time, which makes me feel like I should spend money. And some of the stuff you can only get from certain packages, in certain places, and you want to be able to get that faster, you gotta spend your money. But it's not so bad that it's pushing me to spend money to play the game at all, or to have fun with it. I can have a shitload of fun with this without spending a dime. Sorry if I sound like I'm kind of rushing. The written review will have anything else I missed, hopefully, but my battery's going to die, so... what do you guys think of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? I think it's pretty fucking fantastic, and I would really recommend it. Free to play, lots of fun to play, you get a lot of playtime out of it, and it's a game that, if it was a game that I could buy and, just continue playing it, I might. But the energy thing too, it's like it gives me a reason to take a break. I'm like, I don't have any energy left, I guess I'll stop playing it for a little while. You know, and you only have to check back with it every so often to get some energy to do some stuff, and then put it away if you want to. It's very accessible for whether it's something you want to play a lot or something you just want to play now and then when you have the time. It's a great filler. It's a really fun game, and well, you know, what other mobile games would you like to see, I guess? You know, maybe that's a fun thing. Leave that in the comments. If you can find some other cool free-to-play ones you think I might like, you know, shoot those my way. I'll see if I can play them, see if I like them, and see if I want to actually review them. And they're also just hard to do these because, you know, they change so much. So anything I miss or is wrong, they may have updated it or patched it or something. By the time you see this video, it is constantly being changed. It's a mobile game that's connected to the internet shit. And also, you know, I don't know, just I'm not used to this. It's just the first mobile thing I've done, so I don't know. It's a big shock to me that I'm liking it. But yeah, leave all that stuff in the comments. Hopefully this video didn't suck too bad. I feel like I was less scatterbrained this time. I may have missed a few things. I may have had some bad organization here and there, but fun time like it. It's pretty genius. It's pretty fun. And hell, if I like it, someone who doesn't really give a shit about mobile games, doesn't like the whole touch thing and whatever. I mean, yeah, my screen's a little small for it, but that, whatever. Just, you know, if I can like it that much, you guys should probably like it too. And we'll see if this leads to more mobile reviews in the future. But trying to broaden my horizons for my reviews a bit. Hopefully you guys like it. Leave what you think in the comments. And hey, also, if you guys want to play with me, be part of my... I only have so many spots open for my ally stuff, but I might be getting an opening for those soon. More spots. We'll see. If you start playing it and get allies and stuff, leave me your friend code in the bottom, so then I can add you when I'm able to add you, and then I'll know who I'm adding, rather than having a random person add me, because I reject a lot of those. So, I don't want to reject you by mistake. So, that's all I had to say, and if you guys are playing and stuff, you know, like, it could be fun, and you can chat about it, and hang out, and look at each other's, you know, characters and shit, whatever. Who's your favorite character in the game if you're playing it? Who's your favorite character, or what's your team setup? What's your favorite team setup? What characters are you really proud of? Everything, you know, like, leave all that fun stuff. Well, we can talk about it in the comments if you guys are enjoying this, so let's have fun. But hey, this video has been like half an hour, holy shit. Well, I should shut the fuck up then. Hopefully, you know, I'm just hoping this goes well. I already feel like this video went a lot better than my last attempt at the audio, so... Well, my battery's gonna die, so instead of just waiting for that to shut off, I mean, I'm gonna leave. So, thanks for showing up, and again, written review in the description, and leave comments and like and whatever. Do the thing. You know YouTube by now. Do the YouTube thing. Oh, I'm Sam. I'm still a real person, so I still don't know how to end these. Oh, and sorry for the footage, that's one other thing. Because I just had to record my phone awkwardly, so hopefully it looks okay with my fat finger in the way. Like this. Hey guys, just another reminder to really check out that written review if you want to see a bit more information, have it laid out for you better, and talking about the ships, because there was an update that added ships to the game, and that's a whole thing. And at this point, you know, it's not, you know, I don't know what they're all going to do with it. There's still a lot of things up in the air at this point. Ships up in the air, space, whatever. But check that out if you want to see a little bit more about this, get a little more information. And also the written review is just done better. So if you didn't really understand what I was saying in the video, maybe check that out, you know. And sorry that both the video and the written review are so long. But there's a lot of things to talk about. So anyways, thanks for watching.